St. Johns County now calling for voluntary evacuation starting tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. This as we prepare for what could become Hurricane Nicole.
That's right, because we are still taking a look at the weather tonight for what's to come this week. On your side, Jessica Clark. She is joining us tonight live with the latest. I can see it's windy there.
It is very windy. Good evening to you. We're along the St. Augustine Bayfront right by the Bridge of Lions, and you can see that the water is starting to splash against the seawall here. And you know, it kind of feels like here we go again, right? I mean, it was just less than 2 months when we dealt with Ian, and now we're preparing for Nicole. You might remember during Ian, the bay came over the seawall and flooded the downtown area. Well, as you mentioned, this evening, city and county officials called for voluntary evacuations in low-lying areas starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then at 1 o'clock, 2 shelters will open, possibly more as time goes on, but for right now, 2 shelters. Just this evening, I was going around parts of downtown to check out what was going on, and I noticed several streets that typically flood when we have a king tide like we do now, or a nor'easter, which we have going now, have started to already flood. I contacted Tim Deegan. I said, check this out. He said, yeah, add 10 more inches on top of that, which is possibly what we could see. And we're dealing with a real issue here in St. Augustine yet again when it comes to flooding. This is what county officials had to say about evacuating.
Again, recommended evacuation, right? This is the time in the morning, and we don't want to alarm people, but we want to let them know, look, if you flooded during Ian, you're likely going to flood here in those low-lying areas. And so if you're living on Volano, if you're living in Summer Haven, if you're living in the city of St. Augustine, it's very likely that you're going to see some storm surge and some flooding. So now's the time to go out.
Now you might have a lot of questions about, well, am I in an evacuation zone? Should I evacuate? Where are the shelters? There is an information hotline for folks in St. Johns County to call. And you know what? It is manned by real living people. It's not an automated message. The number is 904-824-5550. Again, that is for an information hotline. But they have shut down for the night to get some rest, and then they start at 7 o'clock. That hotline opens at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then it will be nonstop until the hurricane or storm is over. Back out here live again along the bayfront in St. Augustine, where if we do see what we saw with Ian, the water will be almost to my thigh. We're live in St. Augustine. Jessica Clark, First Coast News, on your side.